Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangham Langayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramanandamadavam Shri Chaitanya Eswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhu Bhayevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचार्य हरदास ठाकुर की जय। दास की जय। ओम तुलसी महारानी की जय। गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् Srila Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Creative Impetus, Chapter 14, Material World is Great Forest of Enjoyment, verse number 46. This is the last verse in this chapter. Material world is great forest of enjoyment. Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. This verse in this whole chapter. Ya idam bhagavata sabhajita avadata gunakarmana rajarshir bharatasya anucharitam. So what it means is one who hears submissively the glories and the activities, the pastimes of Bharat Maharaj, one can be liberated, one can perfect their life, one can give up their fruitive mentality. So, Ya idam Bhagavata. Bhagavata is book Bhagavata, person Bhagavata, the Supreme Lord and his representative here, Bharat Maharaj. Sabhajita Avadata Guna Karmano, the qualities, pastimes, uh, Rajar Sher is because Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit, he is also king. Bharatasya Anucharitam, speaking continuously, constantly. Prabhupada calls it submissive hearing, Prabhupada calls it submissive oral reception, Prabhupada calls it in a few other places. Systematic hearing, which will automatically, gradually, one can be in, develop the, understand the tattva. So, Krishna tattva, Rasa tattva, Bhakti tattva, Shakti tattva, Jiva tattva. All these are philosophy, understanding who we are, understanding who is Supreme Lord, understanding who is Lord Shiva, understanding who is this energy, Shakti Tattva, all the way from Srimad Radharani's to Gopis to Queens, Dwaraka to Lakshmi to Durga. So all these ways, so many details, so many levels. Energies is a broad subject matter. So I'll try to speak maybe in this week, 2 3 days of Lord Balaram's glories. So much glories, energies of the Lord Krishna, so many ways it is explained. So, but we'll cover that there. Here, Swasti Ayanam. Swasti means Swasti Vacham. If you have heard Swasti Vacham means as soon as the baby is born, in first 2 weeks, they should not come to temple. So then they have to be having the purification process. So that is called swasti vachanam and punyaha vachanam. Purification has to happen. So generally, any somebody passing away, all these things require there is some contamination. So pure devotees are exception to those processes, but for everybody else has to follow. Pretty much everybody follows that principle. 3 days, 11 days, 21 days, 31 days. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. So accordingly it is because the contamination, the contemplation, mind, intelligence getting affected is there. So that's why one has to follow those rules. Bharatasya anucharitam swasti ainam. This is most auspicious. It purifies the conditioned soul by simply hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord. And Lord also very much eager to hear what devotees have to say. What devotees are thinking, what how devotees are doing. Lord also is interested. Ayushyam Danyam, even the life. So can be increased. Danyam, so Danyam is glorious. Yes, Yasyam Swarga Apavargyam. Swarga Apavarga means birth, death, old age, disease, going to the higher planet. Pavarga means Papa Baba Ma, which is Parishram, working very hard. Then Fena in the night, one will, saliva, this thing, foam comes. Ba, Baya, then Mrityu means, so all those things are called Pavarga. But one who engages in hearing the glories of the Bhagavat Katha from the pure devotee of the self-realized soul, glories of the Supreme Lord and his devotee, then this Apavarga will happen. But it's a gradual process. Systematic hearing means gradual process. Every day one has to hear without fail. Then by that gradual process, one can understand the tattva. Without understanding tattva, you can't go back home, back to Godhead. Because if you don't understand, you can't put in practice. That means one has to digest it. One has to digest it. Most of the time, take the foods, any foods you take, most of the foods take digestion takes long time. So that's why in the night, Ekadashi day today especially, so once in a month, twice in a month, one's supposed to leave the stomach empty because the toxics are deposited in the liver. It needs time to cleanse. In the night time, especially liver works. So that's why one has to leave it, not eat so much in the night. Ideally, not eat much. So yeah, because it needs to work on it. It takes more time to otherwise, and our toxic may be there still. It may not clear. So that's in this twice a month. If you do follow a cause, naturally it will automatically, even health wise, Ayurvedic wise, one will be healthy and strong and active and energetic. Simply following the Ekadasi. This is a natural methods. By simply following the Vedic way is very regulated way. It helps to be Krishna conscious. That is the main purpose of all the Upanishads and Upavas is to come too close to the Lord. Unless we are energetic and active, life is there, then how can we practice devotion service? We will not have strength to hear, strength to chant, strength to wake up. We'll be always tired, and so those things will come. So that's a practice life one has to follow Ekadasi very rigidly. At least there should be some fasting. So at least 6 to 8 hours, don't eat anything. So water is okay, but ideally at least try to control because if that control is not there, then sense control is very difficult. Because this is also meant to develop that control, sense control, at least till 12 o'clock, at least till afternoon, ideally, at least 4 to 6 hours. It's a gradual process, everything is a gradual process. Satam prasangat, virya samvido, bhavanti hrit karna rasa, jasu ajjoshanat, apavarga vartam, this is apavarga. Prabhupada explaining in other places. Systematic hearing, this is what gradual process. One is systematically every day is hearing, then what will happen? अपवर्ग वर्तमाने श्रद्धा भक्ति रतिर अनुक्रमिष्यति अनुक्रमिष्यति proper translates as gradually one will come adho shraddha beginning faith and then coming to Krishna consciousness taking the association of devotee. The third step is surrender to spiritual master. It's a gradual process. Suddenly it doesn't happen. As I was telling, you take different foods, it takes lots of time to take digest. So most of the foods, that's why it take digestion, then to go into the secretion to get the actual strength. You feel happy, you feel stomach is full, you'll stop eating. But to digest that what you take in, then it takes body has to work, different bodily parts has to work to go into secretion and merge into this muscles and everything else. It takes hours to do that. And same thing here also. So whatever we are taking transcendental knowledge, that is submissively, systematically one is hearing. Then gradually one will come from one stage to another stage. It's not sudden. It's not sudden. It takes time. So that's why it's called cultivation. Cultivation, any creeper, any plant, it takes time. It doesn't grow. Have you seen okra giving, you put in today seed, tomorrow okra will come, eggplant will come? No, most of them takes 90 days, 120 days. If you have done some farming, you have collected, they will put a display on that in the plant when you collect seeds. How many days it takes for this particular vegetable to come out? When will you get the results? Here also, it's also gradual process. After so working so hard, putting water, taking out all the unwanted plant, then only that okra, eggplant, whatever you are putting, it will come out. Otherwise, even despite you putting water, it won't come out because there is no systematic healing, there is no systematic cleansing, there is no systematic stopping of unwanted activities. It is more to do with the, especially everything is to do with the hearing only. Systematic hearing is not there. Once in a while, on and off, then it won't work because again and again it's accumulating. Simple activity is accumulating, dirtiness is accumulating when you stop. But because already we have enough from the last life, forget about this life. Previous life itself, we have enough, so much baggage. To clear that, we have to have systematic healing. And imagine we miss it. That's why we are in service, whether we are in temple, whether we are in India, wherever we are in the flight, the hearing has to go on. Morning, evening, hearing has to go on, no matter what. Health is not good or something, still you should plug it in. It's a proper class are there, vanisource.org. So many classes are there. So you should hear. If nobody is there, no other way to hear, then at least Prabhupada's hearing you can hear. If the temple setting or something is not there, you can log into Zoom. You have to hear. If you miss it, that means you will miss the boat in this life. Next life will continue. That is the problem. Yeah, Parikshit Maharaj has done it. That's why he was protected. From the childhood, he was not interested. Breakfast, they are calling him. He's not going. Uddhava is also like that only. From childhood, they are so much interested. That's why Parikshit Maharaj is about from the when he is born, when he was in the womb itself, he was protected by the Lord because he was such a devotee. Pandavas also served like that, hearing and serving the Brahmanas and devotees, spiritual master. So naturally, the child also gets that quality, and he was also very much inclined. He was looking, where is that Lord who protect? He could see the Lord while being in the womb. Lord expanded himself. It's not we have not seen. We are also there in the womb of mother, but we didn't have the same experience. So Parikshit Maharaj himself is telling about this hearing. That's because Prabhupada also tells who can speak the glories? Only the person who has sufficiently submissively heard his whole life, then he can speak actually. Otherwise, one cannot speak. So Uday was not speaking because he has heard it submissively, sufficiently from his father, Vyasadeva, and his disciples. Sota Goswami could speak because he has heard sufficiently, submissively. So Prabhupada could speak because he has heard sufficiently, submissively from his Guru. So Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Goswami has clearly noted down how much attentively one is hearing. So that's why Prabhupada is very careful. In class, no disturbance should be there. No children's noise, no cell phone, this one, that one. He never liked. Even moving the legs. Loknath Maharaj sitting in the front, moving the legs up and then he said, stop that. Prabhupada was so attentive because it will cause disturbance for him. For Prabhupada, it doesn't cause, but for him, then one cannot pay attention. So that much is required. Sufficient submissive hearing means one has to be really attentive and what. Because you have to remember and you have to put in practice. If you don't remember, how can you put in practice? You can't put in practice. So that's everything is on hearing only. Pravishta Kandarandrena Swanam Bhavasarvam. This is first canto, no, second canto, chapter 7, I think. Chapter 7 or chapter 8. Maybe chapter 8, verse number. Beginning verses 7, 8, 9, 10. Three verses. Parikshit Maharaj himself is speaking. So go on speaking. Please, this is a way heart can be cleansed. Pravishta Kandarandrena. It will go through ear holes, enter into the heart, and the fires will flame up, then this dirtiness will go away. All this iron dirtiness, all the unwanted dirtiness will go away. So, like the when the autumn comes, all the dirtiness will clear water will come like that. Pravishta Kandarantayan Swanam Bhava So from Bhava Bhakti will come from Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So ecstatic symptoms will come. Hair will stand, tears will flow naturally, not just emotional stage. One may get in this emotional stage somebody is natural by birth is emotional, so they may get tears regularly, but that's not we are talking about. Bhava Bhakti is constantly, the hair is standing, other symptoms are also there with it, not just tears only. That is what Pravishna Karanandana Swanam Bhava Saroruham Dunoti Samalam. Dunoti means completely burning all the dirtiness in the heart. Dunoti Samalam Krishna Selilam Yatasarat. Autumn water cleanses like that. Heart will, if you continue to speak. So Parikshit Maharaj by birth like that. He was protected again. So when he was about 7 days, there also is being glorified. Parikshit Maharaj being cursed by a Brahmana boy in that chapter, beautiful chapter. Chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 18. First 10 verses you look at, especially fourth verse, last verse and this verse. Because this verse is connected because last verse what it said in the yesterday's discussion. Anta Kaleja. You have to remember Lord Narayana. Narayana iti haraye iti namaha. That word is there. So third line. So remembering Lord Narayan is the ultimate goal because what practice we have done, whether how did we do, it tells us the result whether we can remember Lord Narayan or not. But one who has sufficiently submissively heard, guaranteed, is there in Parikshit Maharaj's pastime. It is been told that how Parikshit Maharaj heard from the beginning, so in rapt attention, he has followed the process. Because of that, now Uttama Sloka Vartanam, so one who has sufficiently heard, Sat Sambramo Anta Kalepi, Smaratam Tat Padam Bojam, guaranteed, Sat Sambramo, it will be amazed, they will never forget the Lord because now Uttama Sloka Vartanam, they have heard. Now, Uttama Sloka means Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is glorified as Uttama Sloka, is choicest poetry, singing, dancing, especially singing, different poet, different ways, different instruments. Vishnu Jana Maharaj used to play so many, just so many, any instrument you take it, he was expert in playing all those non-stop he can do sankirtan from morning to evening. Play mridanga also like that. Any instrument, harmony, everything. Prabhupada used to watch him how he's doing. Prabhupada used to be um, amazed by seeing his sankirtan and attachment to chanting and hearing. So because that's where one's perfection lies, systematic submissive hearing. So that is the here. Now uttama sloka vartanam chusata tat katamritam. Nectar. Lord Balaram is telling. I don't want to talk about Lord Balaram today, but keep coming the same thoughts. So Balaram is speaking, teaching his bee means Bala strength. Of course, he's also like a bee. He's like a bee, honey bee. He's always attracted, always in the service, serving the Lord Krishna, his master, everywhere. In Vrindavan, anywhere, all over the world, in all rasas is bee. Bee is always there. That's why you'll see that sometimes I pick flowers in the morning in the temple. What your roses are there. You pick the rose, even in the early morning is already there. That bee is inside only. It is not even going away. Night was there, night is also going, still it is there. That means it has become what is that? Katamrita Panamatta. Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj is also drinking the nectar, intoxicated. So bee is intoxicated. Sitting in the flower, drank all the nectar, still it is. Sometimes, Prabhupada also used to smell the flower, jasmine, rose, sometimes hours. Used to keep, because it has a nice smell, because it will increase the longevity. It is, he is using in Krishna service. And when it is offered to Krishna, then you are smelling that also automatically has spiritual fragrance is going. Lord's smell is going into your mind, intelligence, everything gets purified. Also, it is amazing, Krishna Prasadam also like that. So you taste and smell, it's a, even a different world. But one has to experience that. That means one has to properly chant in the morning, 16, very attentive. Then you start cooking. Start with when you buy the groceries, when you come home, and you are meditating constantly what you are going to do, how you are going to do, so all these items, all the way it starts, experience starts there. Then by the end result, then you can get. That's why when whatever Prabhupada good, everything is the taste wise, the smell wise, the automatically one is in completely different experience as soon as they tasted whatever Prabhupada cooked, because it requires intensity of contemplation on the Lord in every step of the way. It's not just cooking. Cooking, yes, you need to know, but it also requires the attention. It also requires the contemplation on the Lord and Lord's representatives. So that's it. Now, Uttama Sloka Vartanam Jushatam Tat Katamrutam. One who is engaged, you can hear, you can sit in front of the class. If I ask yesterday what did Prabhu spoke on Sunday, which many will not be able to tell. So then he is sitting, yes, you get the benefit, but it is not sufficient, it is not submissive, it is not enough. It's not enough. That kind of hearing is not enough. So one has to hear with rapt attention. What is the point to take home? What I am going to apply? What I am going to change? So that's what Susrata means engaged. Mind is engaged, body is engaged, senses are engaged, intelligence is engaged. That is what sufficient submissive hearing means. With rapt attention, because it is to do with the Supreme Lord's glories, and it is to do with changing our heart. So that requires some lots of attention. Sutam tata katamrutam syat sambramo antakalepi smaratam tat tadapadambojam. That's what it means. Apavarga means without sufficient submissive hearing, n number of places. In most of the places, Prabhupada will write this only: sufficient submissive hearing. Some places you will add chanting, but sufficient, even while chanting also hearing. So it's very most important is hearing. So that's the one. Somebody else is chanting, you cannot be chanting also. Second person cannot chant. When the Prabhupada was sitting there and his disciple was chanting loudly, Prabhupada made him stop. You cannot show it to your guru, I am chanting very nicely now. So Prabhupada is always chanting. He's meditating, he's thinking of what to serve and how to do, Lord service. So many things. He's always absorbed. Then you are sitting there and you are making a disturb. You are not, first of all, purely conscious. And then you are disturbing him. Like Prabhupada will know if one is really, because Paramatma is there. If one is submissive, he will give you the intelligence how to act when your Guru is there, even when he is not there also. But especially when Guru is there, you need to be submissive to know, what to do and how to do. So what things to do, what to ask. Paramatma is there watching. If you are not submissive, then you will do something else, not pleasing to Guru. So this also one has to understand. It is to do with lots of hearing. When the hearing is not there, only we will not act properly. So Guru is there to correct that reason. This is what it means. Everything is to do with hearing. Then only apavarga will happen. This verse is clearly laying out the ground. How did Parikshit Maharaj heard? Swata Goswami heard. Sukadeva Goswami heard. Mm, yeah, that is most important. Lord Balaram is like that. Is a bee, nectar, is drinking the nectar of serving the Lord Krishna everywhere in spiritual world, material world, all that paraphernalia, bell, or you name it, Sakiras, Vatsalras, Madhuras, Anangamanjari, you name it, all rasas is serving. In every rasas is serving. So they're non-stoply. And he is constantly glorifying also. He is also glorifying. He is hearing and he is also glorifying. Because as Anantadev, that's how you'll see that four Kumaras are hearing from many places. Here also they are there. At Ananta Sesham is lying down all the way in Garbhodh below. Lord Balram's expansion is speaking endlessly. It is not ending. Bhagavatam is only what is being given to us is only limited. Still, it's 12 cantos. It takes lifetimes to finish reading. But he is speaking endlessly glories. Who's hearing Sankhya and Muni? Then further that Parampara. Then four Kumaras are regularly, or Chitraketu Maharaj went there. He saw Lord Balaram, Lord Sankarshan. He was also there in that assembly. He could see so Lord Sankarshan Balaram. So he was very much attracted to the Balaram because different devotees are attracted to different personalities, different incarnations of the Lord. That's with hearing. So Lord Balaram has to do with so many things. Transcendental sound vibration. When one gets initiation, what is representative of Lord Balaram? Hearing, sound vibration, the creation. That also has come from him only. Sound vibration. Initiation time, the one has to hear the spiritual master chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then you chant Hare Krishna. That is because hearing from Guru, same thing as Brahman initiation, you are getting the Diksha mantra through the lotus mouth of the spiritual master. You have to hear. This is the hearing that is coming again from Lord Balaram. sound vibration, Shabda Brahma. Lord Balaram has to do with many aspects of it. That's what submissive, sufficient hearing. That's why we have to pray to him, Lord Nityananda Balaram. So that then we can continue this process of sufficient, submissive hearing, morning and evening at least. Then you continue every day without faith. Because without that, one cannot do anything else. Then submissive hearing is not there, none of the other process will work. None of the other process will work. So that will be the problem. Despite we may do service, despite do many things, but when the submissive, sufficient hearing is not there, then no other process will work because we will not know how to do. We will not know. Because intelligence will be given when there is enough sufficient hearing, then we will know exactly what is to be done, how it is to be done, when it is to be done. That's what here it is. Va anusrunoti. Again, anu means continuously, constantly, regularly. Anusrunoti, no stoppage. Va anusrunoti, akya asyati, abhinandati. With a great blessing, abhinandati. Not even nanda. Cha sarva eva ashisha atmana asaste na kanchana parata. या इदं भगवता साभिजात अवधात गुणकर्मणो राजर्षेर्भरतस्य अनुचरितं स्वस्ति अयम् आयुष्यं धन्यं यशस्यं स्वर्ग अपवर्ग्यं वा अनुशृणोति आख्यास्यति अभिनन्दति च सर्वा एव आशीष आत्मना आसस्ते न Kanchana Parata, translation by Srivengesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Vijay. Prabhupada is summarizing the whole chapter because it has been talked about herons and mosquitoes and all those is representing what does it mean. Well without water is giving all that what has been explained whole chapter. Translation by Srivengesi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Vijay. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting, Sravanam Kirtanam, regularly discusses the pure characteristics of Bharat Maharaj and praises activities. If one, here I go, one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Bharat Maharaj, that is Swasti Ayanam, Swasti Vachanam, Swasti no Govinda, Swasti no Pandari. You hear? That's why in this, when you sit in the yajna also you hear, because it's very important to know these things, because we have to remember. That only helps at the time of passing away. Anyway, one passes away, one can remember if one who is sufficiently hearing in every situation, as well as the glories of the Lord. One's lifespan and material opulence certainly increase. This is what. So it is mentioned in the first line, second line. Lifespan increases, Ayush, by the hearing. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly plan. All these are secondary results. These anyway one will get without asking. Or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing. Everything, materially, spiritually, simply hearing only. Not the material music, no. That's why we said compared with the honey. Honey, who's doing it? Bee is taking honey from every flower. Throughout the day, night also it will stay. It will extract the honey. It will absorb it, drench and intoxicate, and depositing also. It doesn't lose even a teeny droplet. Our problem is when we take Mahaprasad also, we leave on the plate and we leave also there. Mahaprasad many times it is thrown. The grains are falling. Sometimes it is in the deity plate. We are not conscious. This is the problem only. Hardly we do little service, little chanting, little hearing. On top of it, we have no attention to Mahaprasad, no attention to anything. The Lord's paraphernalia, Lord's prasadam, Lord's remnant. So very carefully, one has to very one not even one drop of Maha water can fall down. Maha, Abhishek, whatever is there, the hands of the Lord cannot waste, cannot fall down because it's you are losing your credit what you have gained it because that's an offense. So that's the one has to be it required. So that is sufficient hearing is there, then you can pay attention here. If sufficient service hearing is not there, one will not be pay attention. It's like one is mode of passion ignorance, where the attention will be. So that's why B is in mode of goodness. It is extracting, it is depositing, nothing is lost. Everything is deposited nicely. It's already drenched in ecstasy and then extra is deposited in the honeycomb. That's a Lord Balaram like honey. So this is a wonderful example. Parikshit Maharaj compared like that in the verse number 10, 1, 18, 10. Fourth one I told now. 10 also is like that. It said, Saranga Sara Iva book. Saranga means Sarangapani, Lord is compared with. So he's extracting the honey, is drenched and intoxicated. He's extracting the essence, all the scriptures, all the glories, all the qualities of the Lord. Is extracted it. So like a bee. That is the comparison given of Parikshit Maharaj. That's why he was saved, protected. Even though despite the birth there was a danger, at the time of death also he was in danger. But both times he was protected. From beginning to end, his whole life was protected by the Lord. See that. See, this is the glory of Parikshit Maharaj. So that's the one has to follow. And Jadapartha is also like that. So that's why he could give mercy to Rahugana. He could speak endlessly. He could transform him. So even though he was not in a proper consciousness, Rahugana. So that's the same thing we have to do by hearing only. One desire, whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. In this way, one can fulfill all his material, spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things. What a statement! One does not have to ask for anything. If we simply concentrate on sufficient, submissive hearing and chanting, that itself we have lacked. Yes, this is the problem. Today's Ekadasi, how many devotees are waking up and chanting? This is the problem. Fundamental problem is here only. So tomorrow is also very important. Rupa Goswami's disappearance day. Very important day. This whole week is like that. Friday is of course Lord Balaram Jayanti. We have Abhishek in the evening. Don't miss it. Don't miss coming to temple. Don't tell me that I live 100 miles away. And this one, that one. Lord Balaram Jayanti means one must be there in person taking the association. If you cannot come in the evening, attend Mangalarati or later in the Rajbhog time, whatever time. But make sure you go and take darshan. You pray, sit there and chant, take some remnants of the Lord. This is the day. Without Lord, as per Lord Balaram's words, how you can serve? He is the one who is teaching service, who is teaching how to hear, teaching every aspect. And one is not taking his shelter, then how we are going to do? How we can do here in the material? How can you get out in this world and go to spiritual world? It is not. It is impossible task. It's not possible. So that's why it's called Balaram. It's Sankarshan Ram. Balaram is getting the intoxication. That's why is Rama. Is intense pleasure he himself is getting by serving. So and then he's teaching also how to be intoxicated like that. Is all that is sometimes one earring he'll wear. He's always in his Avadut. Nobody can understand Lord Balaram, Lord Nityanandaram. Nobody can understand so easily. Because Shiva is follower of him, so that way nobody can also understand Lord Shiva also in the same way. Because many facets, many characteristics are there. How they act, how they dress, how they behave, how they walk, everything is different. Lord Balaram, Lord Shiva, many goes, almost similarities are there. Because follower also following master, so naturally one will have the characteristics you can resemble, you can find those resemblances. So one has to hear that as this verse is. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting Sravanam Kirtanam regularly discuss the pure characteristics of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Maharaj Bharat, one's lifespan and material opulences certainly increase. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to heavenly planets or attain liberation by merging into the existence of Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. In this way, one can fulfill all his material, spiritual desires, everything. So, one does not have to ask anyone else for these things. For simply by studying the life of Maharaj Bharat, one can attain all desirable things. So, so if you pay attention, take shelter of Lord Balaram, then he can increase the intense Ramanto Yogano Ananta Satyananda Jadatma iti Rama Padena Param Brahma Vidiyati. This is the Lord Rama's definition. Krishna also there is seven definition verses there. Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Rama's definition. He's getting unlimited pleasure. One who is taking shelter of Lord Ram, Lord Balaram, Lord Sankarshan Ram. Yes. That is why he is called Rama. Three names were given. Gargacharya is explaining. And Garga Samhita Bhagavatam also to mention. Sankarshan because he's been transferred from Devaki to Rohini's womb. That also means gravitation force. That also means one is being attracted to the Lord. Who's doing that? Lord Balaram can make us bring from conditioned state to pure state. He can bring to the lotus feet of spiritual master and to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. He has a capacity, but one has to take shelter. Uh, one neglects, like Ramachandra Khan and Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see that. And Lord Balaram will never like blasphemy. Uh, yes. Like Duryodhana has come. Lord Balaram is there waiting at his outskirts of his place. He waited, he patiently wants to solve the problem because his daughter was getting married to Lord Krishna's son. So before marriage itself, they had association and everything, and then Duryodhana didn't like it and many things else. And then he started criticizing Lord Krishna and the Edu dynasty, everything else, so many things he was saying. Duryodhana has come. And then when Balram heard all this blasphemy, then he became a rage like a snake. So he's completely he's ready to, they took the plow and they're about to take that whole thing, Hastinapur, completely collapse. Earthquake has started. Then they could realize this is the power of Lord Balaram. So that's why one has to realize before it's too late, especially blasphemy. He never like mm, disrespect to Vaishnava also. He never like it. So as Sota Goswami's father, not the Sota Goswami speaking, his father. So he was all sitting when Lord Balram hugged him. Everybody stood up, but he didn't get up. So that means he has not heard sufficiently what he's speaking. He didn't hear. So then immediately he threw the grass and was killed. He didn't even touch. Just by throwing grass on him, he was killed. And then he placed his son, Sutta Goswami. So he has given some full blessings on him, placed him and full blessings. So that's why he could attain that mercy and position. He could speak the glories of him by Lord Balram's mercy. So that's the Lord Balram's. We have to understand very carefully, study him very carefully. Otherwise, it's not material strength also, but more spiritual strength one is gaining from Lord Balram. That's his Sankarshan. It's giving the attraction, also gravitation force, the whole world, how everything is working. Anything you throw, it comes down. All these things. Many ways. Materially, you understand how this world has come. The sound, vibration, all this. That is also coming from Lord Balram. And three Purusha avatars is happening. Gravitation, that is also Lord Balaram. So the attraction to the lotus feet of the Lord, that is also Lord Balaram. Many ways you can understand the Lord Balaram's Ram Ram Bala is a, and the unlimited strength he has. So powerful, he is so powerful. As Ramachandra Puri, Ramachandra Khan, he was envious of Haridas Thakur. So that's where he started. Lord Balaram didn't like it. And when Lord Balaram came in, Lord Nityananda Ram came to that village, he was denied of giving place and rather he blasphemed. Then, by simply doing a lot, just he didn't say anything, he walked out. Then, whole place, the whole thing was completely another some Muslim governor or as prime minister has come. He killed a goat or something, he ate there, and then after that, the whole village is deserted. Nobody's there, everybody left. The whole village just by committing that blasphemy offense to lotus feet of Lord Nityananda by Ramachandra Khan because he is envious of his devotee also. He started from there, then naturally it further continued on. So many these examples we have to see in Lord Balram's pastimes, how what he likes, what he doesn't like. One has to know what Prabhupada likes, what Prabhupada doesn't like, what Guru likes, what he doesn't like. So one has to know so that carefully one does things so that sufficient submissive hearing is there, then we'll know what Guru likes us to do, what he doesn't like us to do. And then if we follow it, then when Guru is pleased, then automatically Lord is pleased. When Lord Balram is pleased, our spiritual master will please, we'll get all sorts, whatever, everything will become on our way. Perfection also will come searching on our way. When Lord Balram is not pleased, representative is not pleased, then every day things will go on. So anxiety, frustration, these things will go on. So it is to do with sufficient submissive hearing. So from the Lord Balram's representatives, those who are fully attached and developed love and understood his mood of Lord Balram, is so merciful, so very compassionate. As like he gave mercy to Duryodhana, is very, very compassionate to everybody as Nityan Balram, Jagai Madai. And that is he said, I cannot do and nobody can do. You only can deliver whole Bengal. You travel everywhere. He stayed. Prabhupada was also like that. So because that's why he's taking the mercy of Lord Nityan Balram and everywhere all over the world he traveled and gave it. It is Nityan Prabhu's mercy only. So he's carrying. That's what Prabhupada is. You can understand his mood and mission. Is always so much mercy he has given. even to the Matajis and kids, because he's sannyasi, but Prabhupada was completely, because he's on a transcendental platform. We can give mercy. So many examples you can find. He's always caring and concerned. Sometimes he was giving class, a small hall. Everything is filled with devotees. Mostly Prabhus are there. Matajis are not even there. They are trying. Prabhupada saw one Mataji was trying to hear outside the door, even not even in the room, but they can't come in because all is already full. Then Prabhupada signaled to move in so that Matajis can come in. Prabhupada motioned it and they could understand they have to squeeze in. Then Matajis go in. So Prabhupada can see. So many examples you will see that in Mayapur. Festival was going on, so busy, so many things were going on, but Prabhupada personally came and checked. You have enough milk for the children? For Matajis, what do they want? And did you find out? So do they have everything? So he's always inquiring about the children, the old persons, about devotees, whether they are being properly fed, how much paneer, how much milk, everything. He's concerned. Everywhere he went, he makes sure that there's enough prasadam, enough proper quantities, proper items. So this is to do with Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram was like that. Lord is always serving the Lord and serving, so showing how to serve the Lord with great attention and very nicely, very pleasingly, happily serving the Lord and the devotees. So these are the glories, and here Jada Bharata is also follower of the Acharya, follower of the Supreme Lord. So he is also showing by simply hearing these glories of Jada Bharata or Parikshit Maharaj, then one can actually perfect his life. Otherwise, one cannot perfect. One cannot do any other 64 limbs. The hearing is a very important thing. Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. It is not Sravanam Kirtanam Kali, Durga, no, or any other good name. No, Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu only. Um, because they themselves are doing the same thing. All the demigods are glorifying, thinking, remembering the Lord. Uh, when they forget, they themselves in calamity. Yes. When they neglect that, then they are also in the same position. And the problem there also. So that's why for every one of us, all the conditions of anybody in the material, all the way from Brahma to all the way insignificant, and anybody who doesn't do the sufficient submissive hearing, then this problem will be there. All of everything else will come. It stem from there only. So that's why one has to hear. Prabhupada make sure that Srimad Bhagavatam class is there all over the world. All ISKCON temple has to have it. Evening also same thing. Morning Bhagavatam, some places it's not happening. Gita, so many temples, but morning definitely is happening. Every temple, small temple, one devotee is there or no devotee is there, but it has to happen. Even when nobody devotee is sitting, still class has to happen. Because this is how, because Prabhupada knows what the condition of Kali Yuga is. That's why one has to pay attention here. Canto 1, chapter 18, verse number 4, I was telling. Now, Uttama Sloka Vartanam Jusatam Tat Kadamratam Syad Sambramo Antakalepi Smaratam Tat Kadam Bhojam. See the translation. This was so because those who have dedicated their lives to the transcendent topics of personality of Godhead, of whom the Vedic hymns sing, who are constantly engaged. This is what constantly means, every day. When you hear that in the whole day, you can remember the Lord. You can remember, like yesterday, how Radha Samson was beautifully dressed, green color dress, red also is there. You can see the how the painted on the lotus feet of the Lord, how the turban was made with slick flowers, where it has to. It requires art, it requires intensity, it requires experience, it requires practice, so many things. It is requires also one is sufficiently submissively hearing also. Is there? Yeah, many things to be considered. So it requires attention on the lotus feet of the Lord. Who are constantly engaged in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord do not run the risk of having misconception even at the last moment of their life. See the advantage. What will one will get? Even if we forget, Lord will make this situation will never arise for a devotee who's hearing. Even any moment, anyway, he may pass away. Doesn't matter how he will pass away. But guaranteed he will remember the Lord. If he forgets also, Lord will make him remember and they can go back home, back to God. Guaranteed. For those who are sufficiently submissive hearing. That is the point here. See the transcendent, dedicated. Of whom Vedic hymn sings who are constantly engaged in remembering the lotus feet of the. If you hearing, that is Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Pada. So Sravanam Kirtanam is not there, Smaranam cannot happen. This is their nectar of instruction, verse number 8, famous verse. तन्नाम रूपचरितात् सुकीर्तनानु अनुस्मृत्योतिष्ठन् भजेत तदनुरागी जनानुगामी kalam nayediti upadesalam. Look at the purport. So many times I have repeated that verse is the key verse for a practitioner of bhakti. Key verse. It speaks about the Sravanam only. Sufficient submissive hearing, submissive oral reception, whatever Prabhupada is stressing, that was elaborate purport Prabhupada gives. Which is to do with the hearing only. Sravana has to be Varana, Varana has to be Manana, Niridyasana, or Sravana to Varana to Samadhi to Sampatti. 5, 6 stages: contemplation, meditation, absorption, recollection. Yeah, I read many times ago, many days ago, but still I remember it is still etched in my brain, intelligence, what has been written by Sri Prabhupada. It's amazing purport. One has to take it to the heart and apply it every day. The highest perfection of life is purport is attained by remembering the transcendental nature of the Lord at the last moment of one's life. This perfection of life is made possible by one who has learned the actual transcendental nature of the Lord from the Vedic hymns sung by liberated soul like Sukadeva Goswami, or someone in that line of disciplic successor. So that's the parampara is very. There is no gain in hearing the Vedic hymns from some mental speculator. That also, that's why we have to see what they practice. They are speaking, but then are they practicing every day? What are they doing? How are they chanting? How are they hearing? How are they following gurus and what instructions are they following? If we don't see the achar, then what prachar can help? Hearing it will sound sweet, but you can't get transformed. That's why hearing from Prabhupada has a different significant effect because his pure devotee is coming from the spiritual world. When you hear, when you read his books, when you serve him, then it has a different effect, highest effect. So it has to do with the purity. And that's the one has to pay attention. When the same is heard from an actual self-realized soul and is properly understood by service and submission, that's why it requires service. Service can one can do only if you sufficiently submissively hearing, then one can do service. Otherwise, you can't do everything becomes transparently clear because Lord Paramatma is sitting. How the person is sufficient submit hearing, then he will make it clear. How to distribute it, what to say, when to say, everything in every aspect you can see this clearly. Otherwise, one will not know. So yes, that's what it means. Transparently clear. Thus, a submissive disciple again. Prabhupada writing submissive again. Submissive disciple is able to live transcendentally. That means it continues, always lives in happy and bliss. One who is sufficient is submissively hearing whole life, and at the end also he will happily plaza in great bliss. Doesn't matter how externally it may look like, what situation, but internally is fully submissive and surcharged with love for the Lord and continue to the end of life. By scientific adoption, one is able to remember the Lord even at the end of life when the power of remembrance is slackened due to the derangement of bodily membranes. Yes, that's what happens. At the end of life, derangement. We said, everything will stop. The ears will not work, eyes will not, nothing. That is a very 10,000 scorpion bite is death. So that's why the one has to practice this hearing sufficiently. Then even though everything else is not working, at least mind will work and thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord and chanting will happen. The hearing will happen, chanting, hearing. That any senses will not work, still you can do. That's why one has to practice now to come to that stage. When that things happen, then you still can remember and chant. Even if you forget by mistake, by accident, then Lord will make us remember because we have done. We have tried our best till the last breath. For a common man, it is very difficult to remember things as they are at the time of death. But by the grace of the Lord and his bona fide devotee, spiritual master, one can get this opportunity without difficulty. This is the grace of the Sri Prabhupada. We are getting the opportunity. Otherwise, we would have stuck in somewhere else. So many other things we could have done it. But this we are able to follow because Sri Prabhupada showed us the path how to do what this hearing means. So that's what this verse you can see that in Chaitanya Charitamrita is also beautiful. Chapter 1, Adilila itself is stressing that Sunile Kandive, by simply hearing submissively, Kandive means everything destroyed, all the anartha. Then what will happen? Krishna Gada Prema, intense greed for love for Krishna will arise by simply hearing only. At the end of Chaitanya Adilila, it's to do with the surrender to spiritual master. That is the whole topic, chapter title itself. And then what will happen if one is hearing? This is 107. Sunile Kandive Chittere Agnana Dosh, all the faults, whatever contamination, sinful activity, you name it, everything gets destroyed. Only, but one has to hear. Sunile Kandibe Chittera Ajnana Dosh, Krishna Gada Prema Highway, Paive Santosh. You'll be always blissful. Simply by hearing. So simply hearing submissively again the word. See the when you read this word, can you find out? If you read from all kinds of translation by so-called gurus, then you may write just hearing. But the way Prabhupada puts it in the translation, you see that Sunile Kandive, it's just Sunile only, hearing. But you don't understand as submissive hearing. So that means it is not just hearing. It's not just any hearing. You hear material things also every day. So many things you hear from your children, your wife, kids, relatives, friends, and your boss in the office and business outside groceries. So many people you hear from. Can you remember many things? Many things. Many times you may remember those only, but not what Guru has said, not what Lord is saying. Because there is no submissive hearing is not there. That is the problem. Then only we can remember. But if we do, then we can remember. Yes, that's where everything lies. Simply hearing submissively will free one's heart from all the faults of ignorance. Thus, one will achieve deep love for Krishna. This is the path of peace. Yes, this is what we are talking about. Because one can be peaceful. This is there in Bhagavad Gita. The other day I was quoting chapter 4, verse number 29 or 30 something. 23 something. Gnanam labdha param shanti. It is mentioned there. Because how will you get transcendental knowledge? Sufficient systematic hearing. Prabhupada is writing in another verse I read this morning. All this, whatever I am speaking, I read this morning only. So it is still fresh. So systematic hearing. Prabhupada is writing. That means one has to, it's gradually one will develop faith. Gradually one will understand what he should do. Gradually he will understand the philosophy, then he can digest it, then he can put in practice, then he can, as we said, anything to grow in this world, any vegetable, it takes time. When you switch off fan, it takes time. It doesn't stop immediately. Nothing stop. You drive a car, can you put a brake? Does it stop immediately? Even though you have a great car, still it takes time. Same thing here also. And imagine 100 lifetimes or more lifetimes of baggage. Can it stop immediately? No, it takes time. Depends on how much baggage we have. That for that reason only the sufficient submissive hearing has to be there every day. And then that clearance will happen gradually. That's why Prabhupada said 15 to 20 years minimum. Because you need to give enough sufficient time. If you have practiced enough in the last life, maybe you have left off a little bit only in Bhava Bhakti or Nishta, then in this life, very quickly one can see the results. But if you have come from the 1% of Bhakti from last life, then when we start here in this life, then it takes time. It's not going to happen. So that's why one requires patience. Yesterday also I was telling some devotee, Utsaha, Nishya, Dhairya. This has to be there. Yeah, we will go through because Anardas will be there, some and we will be forced to engage in activity. These things will go on. But one has to have patience, despite process will work. One has to have faith. Lord definitely will give us the mercy, Lord and Guru. One has to have 100% faith on Guru and Krishna. Because there is no other way about it. If you don't have faith on Guru and Krishna, you will suffer always, all lifetimes. Future lifetimes also will suffer. There is no other way about it. There is no second process to get out from this suffering. Only process is this only. Whether we like it or not like it, whether it takes more time, longer time, doesn't matter. Still, you have to stick to this process only. Krishna is telling, I'm not telling. Mat chitta sarvadurgani, mat prasada tarisha, na sroshas na vinamshas. If you don't hear, if you hear it, if you follow it, then by my mercy you will be delivered. Matprasada tarishyas, you will be delivered from this world. But if you don't, nasroshas navinamshas, you will be lost. Every life will be lost. You will be running around only in this material world. Like a great doctor or engineer or some politician, some great charity contributor. So all these ways. But it helps only in the material to get some name, fame, prestige. But it doesn't help to get out. Suffering cannot stop. So that is what this today's verse is teaching us. This sufficient submissive hearing. So and this chapter is very beautiful. 18 chapter in Parikshit, last 18 and 19. Sukadeva Goswami's appearance and Maharaj Parikshit Kasturba Brahmana Boy, both chapters. First few verses are amazing. The verse number 10 also you see that again same point is mentioned. Yo ya kata bhagavata kata kataniya uru karmana. Like uru karmana means glories of the Lord. Uru karmana guna karma shraya pumbi some saviors ta bubu should be. Again, some sevya. What do you understand? Seva means service. That's what you understand. Some sevya means completely. Whenever some is used, sankirtan, some kirtan, samyak iti kirtan sang, that means together. And your mind, heart, body is there, and all other devotees are there. That is sankirtan. So some sevya means together your mind, body, senses are engaged fully, you're wrapped in attention in serving. That's what you hear. But what Prabhupada is translating? So that is the difference between others translating it, because Lord Krishna has said so. Prabhupada is repeated, telling. Lord Krishna told to go down to the material and do. Simply you go and write books. I will take care of everything else. Prabhupada said, no, that is dirtiest place. No, I don't want to go. But Lord Krishna said second, third time also. Then I have come. So specifically for this, writing the books. So Lord Krishna sent him to write the books. And he is telling, dictating Prabhupada's writing. That's why he himself was reading his own books. That's why he can know what Krishna meant when he is speaking. Ordinary person cannot know. So that's why when you read this some Savior, look at the translation, what Prabhupada is writing. It's different. It's not Seva. See what is writing here. Ought to be heard. You will not understand like that. Even though you may be Sanskrit scholar, you will translate differently. So that's why it has to be in disciplic succession, in rapt attention, then you will know what it means, what Sukadeva Goswami is speaking. Those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all topics that are connected with transcendental activities and qualities. That means Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Nama is holy name, and Rupa, because when the holy name is properly heard, then only you can remember what Lord is wearing, how lotus spirit is, pinkish, reddish hue in his eyes, everywhere. Lord Jagannath also. Right, because it is to do with lots of compassion, lots of mercy. So many things you have to understand the Lord's form. Each incarnation, so is the beauty and the qualities are explained. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. The Nama is properly heard, then Rupa, you can see the Lord also while chanting. And Guna, qualities also you'll remember, and the past time you will enter in the past tense. While you are chanting, you will enter in the past tense. Six Goswami is told. And every day this is the business going on, but they never told that actually we have attained. They were searching for Krishna. They never said we have attained. We are with Radha and Krishna. So we understand because we know from Acharyas that what exactly happened with the six Goswamis. Every day they are in past tense directly. So that happens when properly sufficient submission. That's what you can see in the verse Prabhupada writing clearly. That are connected with transcendent activities, qualities of personality of Godhead, who acts wonderfully. Again, here on systematically see it from Prabhupada writing. The systematic hearing of transcendental activities, qualities, names of Lord Krishna pushes one towards eternal life. Why should I do that? Why should I take trouble to waking up and chanting and hearing? This is the reason. Systematic hearing. So qualities and names of Lord pushes one towards eternal life. So that's why we make sure even while dressing we hear the class. Even while doing service, cooking, whatever service class is going on. This has to happen. While taking shower, bathroom, brushing the teeth, class has to happen or chanting has to happen. That is what sufficient submissive hearing one has understood. Otherwise, he has not understood. Because the time is wasted otherwise, simply. You cannot bring it back. Sonna Kotina Labede proposes. Ayu Chana, Opi Sonna Kotina is quoting Chanakya Pandit is telling that. Yeah, you cannot bring back. So that's why that's what it means systematic hearing. Systematic hearing means knowing him gradually in truth and fact. And this knowing him in truth and fact means attaining eternal life, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. The Janma Karma Chame Divyam. That means Yavam Yovit Takta Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mame Sochana. So such transcendental glorified activities of Lord Sri Krishna are the prescribed remedy for counteracting the process of birth, death, old age, disease. This is mentioned in Nectar of Instruction, 7th verse. 6th, 7th verse is telling that Syat Krishna Nama Charitad Rasanadi Pittopatatta Rasanas Mena Niyoja, forget. That is like the one who has jaundice disease. What is the remedy? Is this only medicine is chanting the holy name. Just like jaundice, sugar candy. Same way the hearing, the chanting is the medicine for the patient. We are the patient. We are the conditioned soul. So to come out of it, then we have to follow the expert doctor. Rupa Goswami is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu message, and he is giving us nectar. And Prabhupada is writing as Upadesa Amrita. This is nectar of all the essence of all the scriptures. Verse number 6. That's those 6, 7, 8 are very beautiful verses. So Such transcendental glorified activities of Lord Sri Krishna are prescribed remedy for counteracting process of birth, death, old age, disease from today's Lord Sri Krishna. This is of our when sufficient, submissive, systematic hearing. So which are considered to be material awards for conditioned living being. The culmination of such a perfectional stage of life is the goal of human life and the attainment of transcendental bliss. This is what has to happen. This is how Prabhupada trained me. That's what I try to follow. Even if I'm traveling in the flight, class has to go on. Otherwise, chanting has to go on. Otherwise, remembrance has to go on. Otherwise, there is no sufficient submission hearing. This is what it means. Sufficient submissive hearing means your senses has to be engaged, hearing and chanting regularly. Otherwise, material hearing will go on, gossip will go on. That is the problem. Another problem is when sufficient submissive hearing is not there, what will happen? We'll discuss 100 things of the politics and news and what's going on with weather, what's going on with people, what's going on with the devotees, what did they buy, what did they purchase, what did they eat, no use of discussing these things. When sufficient submissive hearing is, this is what will happen. Yes. But if that is there, then concentration will be on the Lord and spiritual master's instruction. So you're reflecting on these things. That is what it is. That's one at the end of Bhagavatam. We read that verse also 12, 13, 18. That's what we mentioned. Same thing. Srimad Bhagavatam, Yad Vaishnava Pramanam, Yad Vaishnava Gnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam, nice karmya. So automatically all your fruity mentality will go away. Gnana will happen. You are getting the transcendental knowledge and bhakti, you will develop bhakti and viraga, you will automatically be detached from the internally, not externally. Internally become detached from this world. This is the result of actual sufficient submissive hearing. This is what it means. Not once in a while, not once in a week, every day. It has to happen. No matter what, every day it has to. Even our Sikh lying on the bed, put a proper class or hear sadhu's class, and then just here, simply lie down and hear. Years can work. So even when your health, no, I'm not feeling well, then the lifetimes we are not feeling well. That we are not understanding. We are thinking we are not well. So body is never well. Body is always in condition state. As a, the health problem is there, or in general itself is in condition state. So that's why one has to take to this. That much important stress is given by Sri Prabhupada because previous Acharyas has given it. So Sukadeva Goswami is giving it to Parikshit Maharaj. That's why Parikshit 7 days, 7 nights, no stoppage in anything, no eating, no sleeping, no drinking, nothing. 7 days. Can we do that? Not in one day we can do that. That means you can understand what a process he followed, how much he was so sincere his whole life. He could do that. God has given enough strength to not being hungry, not being unconscious. There's so much strength, super soul to soul. That is what it means. So Prabhupada lived like that. Not in one day, not even 7 days. 6 months, hardly ate, hardly drank anything. But he was so surcharged with bhakti, so surcharged. He has capacity to speak, to transcribe, translate, speak to devotees concerned about what they are eating, whether they are eating proper, taken care or not, they have proper clothes, proper socks. He's concerned about all this. He's not concerned about his body because he's not on the material platform. So Prabhupada showed practical example. He showed how to live. He showed also how to pass away from this world. Glory is passing away. 6 months sitting in Vrindavan, taking everyday darshan, and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, discussing with devotees how the book distribution is going on, preaching is going on, different places all over the world. This is the glory of an Acharya. Yes, sure. So that's why we have to at least try to follow, try to love him, try to serve him, try to understand what he wants us to do. He's telling in his books. If you read his books, he will tell clearly what he wants us to do from every disciple, every practitioner. They took initiation or not in ISKCON, but anybody is well wisher of Sri Prabhupada, well wisher of ISKCON, then they will follow what Prabhupada is trying to tell. That's why you will see that P.L. Sethi, Mahadev, yeah. Many people, outside people, some Birla family, somebody, they simply by the love of Sri Prabhupada, they have come, they have given up everything, they served Prabhupada till their last breath. Some of them didn't take initiation, but they are certain, going back home is certain for them because they served pure devotee. So Lord will make everything noted. When one serves pure devotee, then every perfection will be there. Even though they may not have followed rules and regulations, but these are exceptional cases. We should not follow that example, and then I don't need to follow also. I simply serve Sri Prabhupada and I can do anything I want. No, that's not what Prabhupada said. So we have to follow Prabhupada. For them, their circumstance is different. The Prabhupada is giving the exception to them, but he's not writing these exceptions in any of his books. He's telling all of his disciples what to do. So that's what we should do. That's what will please him. Then Lord will please, and perfection is guaranteed. Gurandhara Srimad